Disney team had reached out and they were interested in having a meeting with me. You could tell they were passionate about their project. So sometimes you get calls and they're like, yeah, which is kind of like this, and it's kind of, but they were so detailed. It was so nice to meet creatives that were so passionate about what they were doing. So I was totally just kind of in just by meeting them. Definitely start with a lot of meetings, a lot of Zoom calls, just to get the story, because I think that that's the most important thing is we are telling a story through movement and through dance. So a lot of the directors talking to me, talking about their vision, but not to the point where it was kind of confining, just what they wanted to convey in the story. Storyboards are a big part of this process. Like animators, they would put together a storyboard, but the characters weren't really moving, right? They would just say, oh, she talks to her here and then. So that's a really big piece, because then we know where the cameras are and the ideas that the animators have in their head. So that's another language. They just allowed me to go. I would go into a room with my skeleton crew, who are my dancers, who were the different characters of the movie. So one would play Mirabelle, one would play, so everybody would have the character name. And then I would just start putting movement on them. And then we would, once the song was up and we were finished, I would film it. And then I would send it away to the directors. And once they saw it, they would share either with the animation team, and everybody started feeling good. Then they would give me notes and I would kind of adjust. And then we would talk about props and, really specific stuff after that.
It was very interesting in the beginning because I didn't know what it would involve. I came in as an assistant choreographer, and being able to work on the choreography and do the dance, that was amazing, But then I got asked to come in on the reference and the consulting side. And quickly I found that it was a matter of working with the animation team and refining and taking what the reference was, and as they were animating it, helping them fine tune it, helping them find different options, taking the director's notes on different sections and they wanted to change something. So giving different options and helping the animation team really fine tune and make sure everything was on beat, on point. Also that the movement was authentic. We talked a lot about rotation of the shoulders, rotation of the hips, and when I found out that the animation team was as obsessed with movement and the body and how the body moves that as dancers are, it was, again, a match made in heaven. It was a great collaboration because we understood each other. The end product is just a beautiful marriage of the two worlds, which is the amazing work that the animators do with the expertise of coming in on the dance and movement side.
What happens in animation is because it can transport us into crazy worlds. What I do is, as long as I know the feeling of what they are, when we're in the room, I just imagine how this can feel. You have to use your imagination, which is so amazing because that's kind of what Disney is. It's all about magic and imagination. And so you really are challenged to use everything you can. But with that is that you can invent things. You could say, oh, I want a sword here, or I want her to do this, that aren't really on the storyboards. Creating those kind of things, storyboards are so helpful because it shows you what role you would be in at that point of the song.
Well, that was very interesting because we took a lot of their personality. We needed a lot of information. We first saw, we had pictures of all of them. So we saw what their physical anatomy looked like. Luisa's this stocky, super strong woman. Isabella's this dainty girl with this beautiful flowing hair. Mirabelle's like a little quirky. But then once we got the music, our first song was We Don't Talk About Bruno. We were able to play with all of them mostly. And once we saw how they sang or what they were talking about or what their characterizations were, we then were able to kind of pull from our own experiences. You know, we hired Latinx dancers and from Colombia, from Puerto Rico, from Cuba, and we were able to pull from that. So everyone in that culturally, we have that aunt that's like talks with her hands, that's emotional. We all have that cousin who's a little bit like hears everything and a little more quiet. We have the other cousin who's like the boy, the rambunctious boy, and we have the uncle who's like super loving and life of the party, you know, like Felix. So we were able to pull from that because we authentically understood the characters, which is a testament to the writing of not only the script and the development of these characters, but also Lin-Manuel Miranda's like genius in his storytelling and music. Oh, it's everything. It's everything. We're talking frame by frame, you know, we're talking understanding that, and I remember this very vividly. There was a moment in We Don't Talk About Bruno where they're all putting their hands down, and there was a shot of how the hands should fold in. You know, initially it was just gonna come down, but we talked and we went frame by frame where it's like, no, it goes from the pinky down. So if you watch the film and it's Peppa's hand, that if you watch her hand as she's coming down, there's a shot that just shows her from behind and you can see that detail. And it was everything, all the little minute details of, you know, when she's moving her head, when she's moving her hand, how is her hand flowing? Isabella is very much like that, you know. Luisa in her song, there's a moment where she's doing her dance number, and it was, I told the animators, hold on just like a half a beat before you do this, and that delay in movement made this so much stronger.
This was a really big thing for me because I like I said, I'm from the United States, I'm American, and I didn't want to get this wrong because I wanted to celebrate that culture. And so it's the reason why I reached out to Kai Martinez, and then I have a cast of Latinx dancers. So the room was filled with culture and, you know, and us talking about really going to different regions and seeing how different regions of Colombia move. You know, it's not just one focused part of Colombia. I wanted to make sure that we had a well-rounded, the salsa, the cumbia, like all of that. I wanted to make sure that it was a part of the movement style of this movie. So yeah, so cumbia, salsa, chumpeta, like all of those different styles were what was infused into the movement.
It was incredible. I never thought growing up that this was something that would ever happen. You know, I'm first generation born Colombian American, so I grew up very much rooted in the culture. I grew up speaking the language. I grew up with all these things, but like at home, you know, I didn't see it in the media that way, portrayed this way. So to have a film where you see the arepa, the buñuelo, the sombrero volteado, the family dynamics. And it's also, I think it was done in such a beautiful and subtle way, where it's not like, it doesn't isolate anybody. It's just like, here are these people from this place, and you can learn from them. You know what I mean? It wasn't so in your face. It wasn't so done in a weird way. It was done in so beautifully, subtly. I have friends that are not Colombian that are asking me like, oh, so like, what about, they want to eat arepas now, and they want to, you know, they want to learn more. And that is what is so beautiful about Disney, and what the power that they have when they create films. It's like they have the power to educate in a way that's entertaining, in a way that's beautiful and fun. And so it has meant everything to see people now like take in Colombian culture, all that, the beauty that Colombia has to offer. was, I want to say life-changing, but I don't want to be so dramatic. But I'm dramatic. I'm a dancer. I'm an artist. But it truly was. I've cried multiple times. I cried when it was about a year ago in November, around Thanksgiving, around when the movie came out this year. A year ago is when I got asked to be a part of it. So it's been a journey of growth. It's been a marriage of my dance background with my cultural background. It's been learning new things, working with the animators, and I felt like it was a master class of filmmaking. Being able to be in the meetings with Byron and Jared and Sharice and seeing, working to Lynn's music, it has been top to bottom the most rewarding and growth inducing experience of my career.
Oh gosh, I was blown away immediately. You know, the opening number, it was like seeing something that, you know, seeing movement that you created in a room with nothing, to seeing this beautiful visual masterpiece of like these characters that were so beautiful, all the different skin tones and the music, and it was overwhelming. I mean, literally, I think I cried on like every number, because, you know, it's just like starting with such a small little thing and then seeing it bigger than life, and seeing it fully realized is I mean, it was amazing. And the one that stood out, of course, is Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno. It was the first number we did, and it was the one that really let me know we were on the right path. Like we had tapped into the Encanto magic, you know, and so that was the one that really, you know, made me feel like, this is so amazing.